Do you still want to accomplish to check all the boxes?
Yeah, we're dotting our I's, crossing our T's, but we feel like our the pace we've shown this year has been fantastic, and I've learned a lot running at the front of the championship and stuff throughout the whole season. I've just got to be a little bit more consistent in the bigger races. Obviously, Indy 500, I crashed out of there. That was sort of my own fault, and a couple other spots that, as a team, we probably didn't pick up the right amount of points that we should have. You think about, the points that we lost in those couple of races would be right where Josef and Will are right now. But that's promising for me. I think I'm ahead of schedule in terms of my development from year 2. My sophomore season's been pretty good. So hopefully in year 3 we can really challenge it all the way.
You once told me that records were meant to be broken. Gizzy is on pace to maybe tie or break your record. When you look back at your career, whether it be Supercars, IndyCar, what are you most proud of accomplishment-wise?
Yeah, look, I just the opportunity to race for the captain, is a very proud moment for any race driver, including myself, and to be able to win for him and win on both sides of the world has been pretty awesome. The Supercars was a chapter of my life that I enjoyed, and we did a lot of cool things, and we broke records and we did things, and like I said, records are meant to be broken. Now I'm here, in the IndyCar series. I want to try and break records over here, and that's what I'm focused on.
Project 91. Any interest or too early?
I think it's a great project. It's too early, absolutely. But look, there's probably no chance Roger let me compete against him.
You mentioned about development, you're ahead of schedule. What is the one thing that that you have progressed from going from full body cars in Australia and now to the Indy cars?
It's been a huge learning curve. I mean, I never really raced at open wheels until I drove an IndyCar, so that's been a learning in itself. But I guess just trusting, the aerodynamics of the race car and trusting what I need from the race car. It's a very different kettle of fish in terms of, the way that the car handles and the way that you get the speed from it. So for me, it was, just trying to get comfortable with my feedback and telling the engineers what I want. And then when we found like a base setup for most tracks, it's been nice just be able to just tick boxes and just tune it up throughout the whole time.
During the pandemic, a lot of us were covering iRacing because there was nothing else to talk about. You actually said last weekend that iRacing had a huge part in how you have adapted to the ovals. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, look, iRacing is huge in terms of, I've used it since I was a kid. I've been on the service for about 12 years, both for fun and for business type deals. And obviously the pandemic was a big thing, but I raced the Indy cars on there for many years. I just think it just gave me an idea of the dirty air and how it felt, and definitely was a great introduction into my oval racing, understanding different lanes. It's not 100%, but it gives you a great introduction into how to look after your tyres across a run and dirty air, how you can damage them. It's a great tool and something that young drivers across the world should use.
First time back in Portland, really to test. Talk to us about what you've experienced at PIR.
Yeah, I enjoyed Portland. I thought it was a cool track, and last year we were the highest Penske qualifier, but we weren't great, and that's why we've come here testing this weekend or this week before the race, because we need to be better here to be especially with the second last round of the championship. So no, I feel like we've got a car here right now that feels a lot better than it did last year, and we can only improve it across the day today. It's very important. It's probably our most important test day of the year, and we'll just keep focused on that. But yeah, look, for us, we want to come here and win, and hopefully this test day helps us do that.
You and Jimmy, obviously the biggest learning curve moving from the style of racing to IndyCar. What was your biggest adjustment when you hit open wheel that first year?
I don't know. It was just a lot. There was a lot of information coming at me. I had a lot of bad habits on the road and street courses from the Supercar days, and I think Jimmy still has those as well, because he was in his sport for 25 years, where I was lucky I wasn't too long. I was 10 years or 12 years or whatever I was, but at the end of the day, I still had bad habits, so I couldn't imagine what he's going through as well. So yeah, I was in a luckier situation, but we're still battling those, and I'm trying to iron them out, and I've got great teammates to lean on in terms of just where I need to be, and they're helping me as well.
In this test, you look to be braking really late in turn 1 with a yellow flag, with a red flag. Are you happy with your laps, or do we expect a lot more after lunch?
I don't know. It's a test day, but I think car feels good. Car feels good. It's a lot better than it felt last year for me. It's nice to be able to attack turn 1 with a bit more time on my hands. Use a bit of curb there, see what it's like. That's what test days are all about, and we'll just keep pushing the limits.
Scott.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Scott.
It's been, I would say, an up and down season for you, but going to the last 2 races, where do you stand?
Need to win at least one of them. It'd be great to have a 3-peat at Laguna Seca, and then this is also a place where I've had some success. You know, I haven't been on the podium here, but I have a pole. So we've been strong here in the past. Be good to get a test, and it seems like the weather seems really nice and comparable to conditions that we'll see next week. So hopefully it's a good one. We've already found some good stuff, so hopefully we can kind of keep going.
Right. I know that you guys have tested here as a team in the past. Anything that you're able to glean from that and you put in an early setup?
It's always, tough to say exactly how the weekend's going to play out and the conditions, how they're going to be. But yeah, like I said, we found some good stuff. Hopefully we can kind of keep on that trend. And it's not only about finding the good stuff, right? You want to kind of find out what's not going to work too, so you don't end up putting stuff and ruining a session because of bad setup on the car that just doesn't work.
One question about your band. Rumor has that you guys have an album coming out, or maybe a second album coming out.
No, we just released one this year, so nothing planned right now. I need a little bit of time off, which I'll get in 2 weeks.
As short as this track is lap time wise, what is the biggest challenge that this circuit provides aside from, of course, the chicane?
I think it's a good change of direction. Some of the stuff back there is quite flowing, but then you need a quick front end to kind of get into the next corner. Same with down here, really fast and flowing, but again, need a quick change of direction and a good rear to hold on to that. So it does, for how short of a lap it does have a mix of pretty much everything.
You're definitely one of the most exciting drivers, very aggressive out there, elbows out. Has there been any adjustment, or you have one speed and that's get to the front?
Try to just keep doing what we're doing. We've had some really bad luck this year, unfortunately, and so we've been fast in a lot of places and it just hasn't worked out. So hopefully we can kind of just I just want a clean weekend, have 2 races and hopefully 2 podiums and a win in one of them. It'd be great to have 2 wins, but if we can wrap up the year with getting at least 1 win at one of these places, it'd be awesome.
I don't want to ask about F1, but I have to. Any news on the F1 front? How'd the test go at McLaren?
The test was fun. The car was fun to drive. Definitely some differences and some similarities to the stuff over here. But yeah, it was a cool car to drive. Right now I don't have anything to report on anything else though.
Now, and on the rules with the international license, do you officially have your international license?
I'm not too sure. There's a lot going on. It seems like there's some ways that I can get it and some ways that maybe it'd be more challenging too. As far as the 40 points, I don't at the moment.
Okay.
But there are some ways to get it, so we'll have to wait and see if it's available to me.
Is there any technology you would like to see brought over from, say, an F1 car to an Indy car? Maybe power steering?
No, I like the way IndyCar is and how it's different from F1. I think it has to be. It's, I guess you could say, a lot more raw and different in a way that there's a lot less people, so it's, I guess, a lot more intimate and a lot less stuff going on the weekends. So I like it. I think both forms are great for motorsport, and it's good to have contrasts of 2 different series that have some similarities and some differences.
Working with your dad, how has that been? Things get heated from time to time. Everything good?
Yeah. I mean, they only show like 5 messages that we do,
Right,
and they're
right.
all mad, so that's all they like to show about us. But
Do you like the in-car camera though? Where they have the in-car camera where you can hear the radio?
I don't watch any of that stuff, to be honest. It just pisses me off. So, but it's not like that 99% of the time. They only just like to show the 1% to get people interested in it. But no, it's been great. It's worked so far. We've had good strategy at a lot of places. That's the biggest thing, right? Yeah, it's my dad, but you want a good strategist, and he is that. So.
Can you turn the camera off in the car or not?
Just put my hand up and maybe block
Put a little
it.
dirt up there?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
USC Cal.
What's that?
Southern Cal or Southern?
Southern California. Yeah, my girlfriend goes there.
USC? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Colton. Good luck.
Devlin,
How are you?
How would you rate your season so far, and especially as we come to 2 tracks, Laguna Seca and Portland?
It's 2 places that we're testing, so looking forward to ending the last 2 races on a high. I'd say honestly 6.5. I'd say I'd rate our season. the results and speed has really been starting to come the last couple of races. I think it's taken me a bit long to get my feet under me and things like that, and a few races I don't think have gone our way and showed our true potential, but we're always working and closing the gap, and I think that's really become apparent in the last couple of races.
What are you going to have to do then to get your full potential out?
I think it's coming, right? Each race weekend that we've done, we've seemed to be getting better and closer. Qualifying right up there with my teammates, almost top teammate, top Andretti driver in Gateway for a lot of it. So it's really starting to come, and I think it just took me a little bit more time, and I think the last 2 races of the year are going to be quite strong for me.
What do you like about Portland?
It's a fun little track, man. It's very tight. It's high commitment. Especially the last section of it. So it's very enjoyable. It's very close and tight, and there's really not much room for error.
Romain said he would like to see a few more corners added just to make it a little bit longer lap time. Thoughts on that?
I would agree, but I think overall it is a nice track. I like coming here.
Okay. And how's your test going so far today? You happy with what you've done?
Fairly decent. I think it took me a little bit long in the morning to get my feet under me, but I think we made a last couple of changes before our last run there, and I think we made some good gains. So looking forward to going on a new tire again and seeing what we can execute in the afternoon.
So did your Indy Lights experience help you from last year? Does that help coming to a track this year that you've been to before?
Some tracks yes, some tracks no. I'd say this one I think it's more difficult in the IndyCar. Just not more difficult in a sense of driving. It's just different to get your feet under you here. It's a different car. It needs different things. So yeah, it's good to know where the track goes and things like that. But different car and different things are required.
You had a little trouble getting her going last year at the Indy Lights race, right?
Yeah, we had an issue. The engine stopped working on the pace lap. So not
disappointed.
Very disappointed.
Devlin, as a rookie coming in, you join a team like Andretti. What does that do for your confidence?
I have very, very experienced teammates, multiple race winners, an Indy 500 winner, plus the best of all time at the Speedway, debatably, Helio Castroneves with Meyer Shank, so being able to rely on him as well. It's a vast load of experience that I can lean on and look to and keep, that's where the goalposts are, once you're matching them, I think you're in a very good rhythm and the results are good, so that's really what I'm aiming towards.
Let's look forward to 2023. What are some of your goals for the season?
To make a big step up between year 1 and year 2, constantly in the Fast 12 and Fast 6 a fair amount of the time, and be fighting more often at the front, top 10s and top 5s when they're out, and maybe a few podiums as well. But, still a lot of work to do, but I don't see why maybe that's not achievable.
And you mentioned earlier kind of a general progression. What's the thing that you think you have to do, number one, to get to that point?
Hard work on the off season, identifying the weaknesses, and that's going to be a job to do over the winter to, look back on the season and go, this is the things that went well, this is the things that didn't go well, and these are what we need to work on. I'm doing a lot of work about that over the off season to become out swinging next season. I know the car now, and a lot of the tracks I'm going back to next year I'll have been to, so I'll be able to really draw on that knowledge, because, there's a lot of tracks, if we did this differently, the result would have been this. So things aren't the same year to year, but I have my own experience to rely on instead of, looking at others.
What has been the most challenging track this year and why for you personally?
Well, that's a tough one. I'd say the one maybe we struggled the most at was probably Barber. Not sure why, but going back there, I know the corners that I struggled at, so I know exactly what I need to work on straight away, and we were able to fix it in the race. So I think it'll be different when we go back to a lot of these places.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You had a little mishap here in practice.
Yeah, we had a bit of an issue on the brakes, so I was unable to slow down the car and end up in the tire wall.
That's never fun, is it?
No.
Now that you've kind of settled in, is there anything you would like to see safety-wise, whether it be rules or additional safety measures in general? That's where I was going with that.
Okay. I think everyone is trying, every series, FIA, IndyCar, Formula 1 is trying to make the car safer. I think we're working on new headrests for the tall driver in IndyCar, which is good. I think the aero screen is a very good step. Sometimes I think the track could do a better job at getting safer. But apart from that, I think everyone works really hard, and if we have any comments, IndyCar is very open at listening.
Talk about your progression last year versus this year.
Yeah, I think I mean last year was an amazing season with a lot of good results. This year hasn't met our expectation for a few reasons. It started really well, and then we had some mechanical issue and some bad luck, and it just turned into a tough one. But the last few races have been pretty good. Obviously, Nashville was looking really good until I met Josef Newgarden. On ovals, short ovals, I've done a really good job, I feel, leading Andretti in Iowa, and same thing at Gateway if it wasn't for the engine penalty. So yeah, that has been very positive. We are still trying to extract the maximum of the car. It feels very different from last year, but obviously today it's our last test day of the year and the last one for a while, so we're trying to maximize it.
How do you like the track, though?
It's really good. The only thing I would say about Portland is like it's missing a section. So if it was 2 sectors after 3, that's what we had, it's great. But a 58-second lap time, it's just a little short. So if we could have a couple of extra corners somewhere, it would be awesome.
And how much do you enjoy the driving?
Driving is fun. The day I stop enjoying driving, I'll stop. I think that's something I learned from my crash in Bahrain, is that life is worth living if you like it. And if it starts being something that you don't enjoy as much as you should, then do something else.
That's a good attitude.
So what was your, I mean, still open wheel, but what was your biggest adjustment when you first moved over from Formula One to Indy? The biggest learning curve for you?
The big one was the power steering wheel. No power steering wheel in IndyCar, so the way you drive the car is very different. The way you can hustle the tires is very different as well. You have to nurse them in Formula One, and here you can really attack a lot, which I like. And then just the type of racing, type of racing is very different. In Formula One, you take the start, you know exactly everyone's going to be on the same strategy. So after the race start, you kind of know where you're going to end. In IndyCar, it's a different story.
How much do you enjoy with IndyCar, all the fans being around, the accessibility to the drivers?
It's great. It's awesome. I mean, I've had a lot of fun this year. It's been absolutely outstanding. I try to give them back as much as I can. Some days I'm more moody than others, so I apologize, but most of the time I try to be good with them.
Thank you.
You won a lot of fans at Laguna Seca last year.
I did, yeah.
Looking forward to going back?
Yeah, it'd be great. I'm looking forward to the last 2. I know some guys think it was a long season. I wish there were more races.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you. To Portland.
Thanks for that. Thanks for having me. Yeah, excited to be back.
So you have a huge following here, which is very kind of strange to all of us. But what is it about the people of Portland that have fallen for you?
I don't know. I think it's I've always had a sort of West Coast kind of mindset. I love this part of the country, and the outdoors and climbing and hiking and all that have always been a big thing that I've been into outside of racing. So I like this city, and for the last 6 or so years I've been working with actually a Portland-based STEM charity, 1080 Education, and the International STEM League. They're based just down the road here, and bringing their STEM programs to schools all around the country. So it's a special city for us.
That's really cool. Talk to me about your season so far. Give me an assessment.
I think we've had some high points for sure. Some good qualifying performances on some of the street circuits. I think the pace-wise street circuits have overall been our kind of highlight. And then probably the short ovals have been decent to us. Looking for with the last 2 races being permanent road courses, looking to kind of up our game a little bit there. I think that's where we've really been lacking. So just trying to massage that a little bit and end the season strong.
What are you going to have to do to make sure you accomplish that?
Qualifying is super important in IndyCar racing. It's very much a track position series, and if you start a little further up the grid, that really makes your life a little bit easier. So qualify well, and then just kind of consistent fast laps during the race. It's that average pace across the entire 3 or 4 stints that you're going to run that's going to decide where you're going to finish.
Last year you had a pretty strong run going after you avoided the mess on the festival corners. What are some of the expectations for this year?
Yeah, we definitely had a good start last year and got kind of shuffled to the upper mid pack after that incident, and was running pretty well there. And then we had I can't remember what happened, a gearbox or electrical issue or something took us out of the race. So really just want to finish strong this year, and if we can qualify well and make up some spots on the start, and then kind of stay there and hopefully make some ground up. That's the goal.
I'm looking at discussions from the other drivers talked about whether or not they need to lengthen the circuit. Do you like the circuit as it is, as challenging, despite the lap times being relatively quick?
Yeah, it's definitely a quick day. I mean, with the sun finally coming up, maybe the track temp will come up and we'll just be sliding around a bit more. But yeah, it's a fun track. The it's a good mix of high and low speed corners. So yeah, I enjoy it here.
Well, we really appreciate it. Thanks for taking a moment to chat with us.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Teammate.
Well, we got to obviously be really good here and then good in Laguna. We got 2 races, so consistency I think is probably going to pay the biggest reward. Things outside of our control that we don't need to be focusing on as yellows and things that can happen that we can't predict. So we're going to focus on ourselves and try and put 2 good races together. That's all it's going to take.
How was the test session so far?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be out here. Last year we chose Laguna to test at season finale instead of testing here, and a lot of the other guys that are not here at Laguna. So we sort of flip-flopped on our test strategy, but I think it can be very positive for us. I feel like we've got good cars at Laguna Seca, and then for here we've needed a little bit of work historically the last couple seasons. So I think it's good to be here today and have that time. And was really happy with the car in the morning. I actually felt like we made good progress. So I'm excited to come back next week.
Given the fact that it's your teammate you're chasing, does anything change in your mindset at all?
No, just another competitor. But obviously for us, securing the championship for Team Penske is a big deal, and that's what we're focused on. But yeah, I mean, I think you got to run your race just like it's anybody else, regardless of if it's a teammate or not.
What about team orders?
We don't have team orders. I mean, obviously we try and take care of each other for the team. I mean, if it's not me winning the race, we need to make sure it's either Will or Scott. So that's sort of our mindset, but there's not really an order in place of how it's going to go. I mean, we're both out here pushing, trying to help the team accelerate to be the furthest forward. If we're not pushing each other, then we're not getting the most out of our equipment either. So there's not a team order in place. No.
Last year, Penske kind of struggled with speed, especially down the straightaways. All of you top 6 right now. What was the key difference in the offseason?
Well, we've made a lot of good headway with Team Chevy for sure. Our drivability has just been next level this year. I think that's made a big difference. It's going to make a big difference here. Our fuel mileage has increased. Our reliability has been solid. So, we've just been better, all around. Full 360. I think we've made improvements. So, we feel confident. We feel like we have good cars. It's just a matter of executing when you come to these weekends. You can have every piece of the puzzle, but if you can't execute, then it doesn't get done at the end of the day. So we got to keep our eye on the ball, but we feel really confident about what we got.
How does Portland suit you?
I love Portland. It's fun being here. It's a fun track. Felt really good this morning. So I like every track. They're all unique. They're all different.
Sometimes you talked about the competition. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, though, don't you?
Some days it's better to be lucky than good. I can tell you that. You feel really good on those days when it just works out. But you absolutely need both. When it comes to the championship and the longevity, you've got to have strength. You've got to have, you've got to have fast cars. You've got to be able to execute. You got to be able to make good decisions. But if you don't have that little bit of luck as well, it can make things hard on you. And I think this year, we've lacked a little bit in that department. Not terribly, but there's been more races there's been more races that seem to be going against us than for us. But we can't focus on that because it's a lot of the times the things that go against you are just completely out of your control. So we just got to focus on what makes us fast, what makes us execute a good race. Let's focus on those things and try and put a good weekend together. And that's what we're going to do when we come back here.
You enjoy it, don't you?
I love it. I love this process. Racing cars, it's a lot more than what it just looks like. It's not just out there, driving a car really fast around the track. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of people here. It's a big process, putting these cars together, trying to extract the most out of them. There's so many details that go into it, and it's really fun and gratifying when you get it all right. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Because it's quite a short lap, which stacks everyone really tight on time, so it's really hard to differentiate yourself with speed. So, that's why we picked this place. We needed some miles.
Everybody talks about corner 1. I know it's one of your favorite on the series.
Yeah. Corner 1's tough. I mean, we were talking to the series last year. Can we do something about it? Can we maybe start on the back straight? Or because every year it's the same thing. So, best thing you can do is qualify right at the front. You got less chance.
From a driver's standpoint, there's been mention maybe putting some sand on some of those corners. What do you feel about that as a driver, having sand traps rather than just the dirt?
Sand on which corners?
Like the last turn there where we seem to see a lot of cars go off. As a driver, do you have any preference on safety-wise?
Well, I think there is gravel there. It is sand trap there. yeah, maybe somewhere else they're talking about. But yeah.
Overall, Will, how do you like the track?
Yeah, I like this track. It really suits my style. Very flowing. Yeah, rewards real neat, tidy driving. So I like it.
And how much do you enjoy the racing?
Oh, I love the race. I love the competition. You know, more than driving fast cars, I just love competing at this level. So many good drivers, and it's a lot of fun.
What's it going to take for you to win next Sunday?
It's going to take a really good qualifying, then just good strategy. Good strategy. We kind of got caught out last week with the wrong strategy, so it's can only do your best in this series. You just never know what's going to be thrown at you.
You're one of the veterans. What do you still, as a driver, want to check off your list as a accomplishment success? What's next for you?
Oh, I'd love to win a championship again. So that's really high on the list. Obviously, surpassing Mario Andretti in pole positions would be fantastic, and surpassing Michael Andretti in wins would be great. So a few things there. Andretti's the absolute legends of this sport, and two people I really look up to and are massive fans of. So.
You had a bit of a moment early in the session at turn 6. Can you figure out what went wrong over there?
Yeah, I just ran a little wide, then spun and stalled. I mean, I could have kept going, just stalled it. Otherwise, it was pretty harmless. Yeah.
What about this track suits your style so well compared to maybe other road courses during the season?
Yeah, it's the nature that it flows. They're all really long loading corners, so you got to be really nice and precise on the wheel. So that's what helps me around this place. That's what I like about it.
You have some history here, not just with IndyCar, but back in, I think, the Champion days, like 2006.
Yeah.
Do you draw on that at all? Does that help at all, just having that to go that far back in the memory banks?
No, it was actually a different track, but this was the first track I ever drove on in the US. First track I tested to, first place I went when I came over here. So it's a special place for me. That was the beginning of my IndyCar career.
How do you describe the atmosphere here in Portland?
Yeah, you get a lot of old school fans. You see a lot of people with the old kart shirts on, and pretty knowledgeable about the sport. So I'm really glad we came back out here to give those guys a chance, and people way out here to see our cars race.